I am an entrepreneur now. I am a businesswoman. Today, I own 5 companies. I provide jobs to people who truly need work. I ensure my employees receive fair salaries, safe workplaces, and the respect they deserve. I believe work should not only provide income, it should provide dignity. I run schools for the children of my workers. Through my companies, we provide food, clothes, books, and even small special things to children from needy families. Because sometimes it is not the big things that make a difference. Sometimes it is a new pair of shoes, a proper school bag, or celebrating a birthday without feeling different. This is who I am today. But I was not always like this. If you truly want to know me, you must first know my story. When I was a child, I constantly compared myself with others. All my friends are wearing new dresses. Why not me? They bring delicious food to school. Why don't I? They celebrate birthdays in big restaurants. Why can't I? They go on family trips. Why am I not going? These questions stayed in my mind every day. Even when I smiled. Even when I laughed. Even when I pretended everything was fine. I felt less than others. I never tried to understand my parents' situation. I never thought about how hard they were working. I only saw what I didn't have. Comparison became my habit. And comparison steals joy. My father worked long hours. He returned home tired but quiet. My mother worked even longer, outside and inside the house. She rarely complained. But as a child, I didn't see sacrifice. I saw limitation. I noticed what was missing instead of what was being given. Sometimes I would come home upset because a friend had something new. Sometimes I stayed silent at dinner because I felt disappointed. I was embarrassed by simplicity. And today, I regret that deeply. One ordinary evening changed my life. My father returned home exhausted. My mother was still busy after a long day. I was sitting quietly, upset about something I didn't have. My grandmother noticed. She called me to sit beside her. "Do you know how hard your father works?" she asked gently. "Do you know how much your mother sacrifices?" I stayed silent. She continued, "Every class you attend, every activity you enjoy, has a cost. Your parents work day and night so your dreams don't stop." Then she said, "They don't spend on themselves so that you can grow. They don't complain so that you can smile." Her voice was calm. But her words shook me. That night, I couldn't sleep. For the first time, I truly saw my parents. I saw the tiredness in my father's shoulders. I saw the effort behind my mother's silence. I saw love hidden inside sacrifice. And I felt ashamed. Ashamed that I had measured love through material things. That night, I made a promise. I need to change. The change was gradual. When I saw others wearing new clothes, I still noticed, but I didn't let it hurt me. When friends talked about trips, I listened, but I didn't feel angry. Instead, I started observing my parents more carefully. I noticed how early my father woke up. How carefully my mother managed expenses. How they avoided buying things for themselves. Gratitude slowly replaced comparison. Respect replaced jealousy. I began studying seriously. Not because I was forced, but because I wanted to reduce their burden one day. I started understanding money, not as paper, but as effort. When I was old enough, I took part-time jobs. My first earnings were small, but when I held that money, I felt something powerful. For the first time, I understood what it meant to earn. That money carried responsibility. I bought something small for my mother with my first income. The pride in her eyes changed me forever. I realized earning brings dignity. After finishing my education, I got a job. The salary was average. The position was simple. But I worked hard. I arrived early. I stayed late. I learned everything I could. There were days I felt unnoticed. Days when others progressed faster. But I had stopped comparing. I focused on growth. Skill was my priority. Eventually, I started dreaming bigger. Not dreams of luxury. Dreams of independence. I wanted to build something of my own. So I started small. My first startup failed. I lost money. I doubted myself. I felt scared. People advised me to stay safe. But I had learned something important. Effort always teaches. So I tried again. The second business struggled but survived. The third began to grow. I learned about leadership, about mistakes, about patience, about resilience. Success was not fast. It was built slowly, with discipline. There were nights when I felt exhausted, moments when quitting seemed easier. But I kept going, because I had seen real hard work in my parents. Over time, my businesses grew. One company became two. Two became three. Eventually, 5. I became an employer. And that responsibility felt heavy. I knew how hard earning money is. So I decided my companies would focus on more than profit. They would focus on dignity. I hired people who needed opportunity. Single parents. Young graduates without connections. People who had lost jobs. I ensured fair wages and safe workplaces. Then one day, I visited an employee's home. His child was studying under dim light, with worn-out books. And I saw myself. The child who once felt less. That moment changed my vision. No child connected to my company should feel small because of money. That is how the idea of schools for workers' children began. We started small. Today, we provide education, meals, clothes, and school supplies. Because I remember how deeply comparison can hurt a child's confidence. People often ask me, why spend so much on employees? Why invest in welfare instead of expanding faster? My answer is simple. Because I know what struggle looks like. I know what sacrifice looks like. I do not do business only to earn money. I do business to give dignity. Because dignity creates confidence. And confidence changes generations. I never forgot the child who once asked, why not me? Today, I ask a different question. Why not them? Why not the worker's daughter? Why not the driver's son? Why not the employee with quiet dreams? Opportunity should not belong only to the privileged. Success did not change me. It clarified me. I measure success not just by revenue, but by impact. How many families feel secure? How many children attend school confidently? How many employees feel respected? That is my profit. Sometimes I think about my grandmother. If she had not spoken that evening, I might still be comparing. Instead, I learned gratitude early. Gratitude built discipline. Discipline built skill. Skill built opportunity. Opportunity built success. And success built responsibility. This is my story. From comparison to understanding. From asking to earning. From earning to giving. I am an entrepreneur. I am a businesswoman. But before that, I am a daughter who finally understood. And everything I build today is my quiet thank you to my parents.